Hey, I'm Herald sportswriter Manny Navarro.
And I'm Andre Fernandez.
And we're at Braddock High School for the Gridiron Report. All right, Dre, so week 1 is in the books. We're here at my alma mater. We got to talk about my alma mater first. They're 1-0, Dre. They beat NMB.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Champagnat last year, my alma mater. We famously went to my dad's alma mater at Miami High. It was about time we returned to this man's alma mater right here. Look at Bulldogs, Braddock signs everywhere. How do you feel, man? How do you feel to be back home?
My 20-year reunion is next year, and I'm a little nervous. I'm 37 years old. I'll be 38 next year. I mean, it's been a long time since I've walked these hallways.
Yeah, I don't know if they can zoom in. You see the gray right there.
You got the gray. They got the gray on the beard. Yeah. We got the belly growing out. I mean,
that could be worked on.
That could be worked on. But either way,
just for men,
I'm getting old, and the people who graduated from Braddock that still see this show and they say, "Man, you're getting old." Yes, I'm getting old. Anyway, let's talk about football. Last week, Central and Booker T, they both lose. When was the last time that happened? On the same day. I stumped him. He really has no clue what the answer is to that question. I'll tell you.
I don't know.
I'll tell you. Like 2003, 2004, somewhere around
that
there
makes sense.
Is the last time I think Booker T and Central lost on the same day. It happened. Booker T's 41-game winning streak comes to an end at St. Thomas, 35-3. You were there for that. And then Central, absolutely embarrassed by DeMatha up in Washington, 38-14.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote in the story it was only the 5th loss, period, that Central has endured. You know, since 2012 when they opened the season, they lost those 2 games on the road. Then the last 2 years, the only team that's beaten them is Booker T. So they just don't lose at all. But that DeMatha team has a serious defense. We're talking about that Shane Simmons kid from Penn State. It's going to Penn State, I'm sorry. And if you want to get a good look at them up close and personal, they're coming down here this weekend. They're going to play American Heritage over at Plantation. Might be worth putting this game on TV as well. I mean, I know there was some talk of that. If both teams came out of those undefeated, see what happens.
All right, so those were the big losses, the big wins. St. Thomas, let's talk about them a little bit. And then Flanagan, I watched them absolutely pulverize a Douglas team that should be in the playoffs.
Yeah, St. Thomas, I mean, you know, a lot. Booker T came in, they were confident. This is a young team that, you know, was riding on a historic win streak. But, you know, it just showed just the difference in level right now between those two squads. St. Thomas, I think, is still working their offense in a little bit. You see, you know, flashes of brilliance there from Jake Allen in sync with his receivers like Sam Bruce and Grimes and those guys.
Michael Irvin.
And Michael Irvin, of course. But the defense is what's winning these games so far. They've shut down Dillard. They've only given up 3 points, really. They shut out Dillard and a field goal to Booker T. Other than that, their defense is wearing you down and winning these games in the second half.
Yeah, I think we have no doubt that the best county this year for football, with apologies to Dade County, is Broward County. I think at the top, you look at those top 4 teams, and even Hollandale, I mean, those are some pretty dangerous teams up in Broward County. All right, so let's start breaking down week 2. First game, Miami High, Southwest, at Southridge, Thursday, 4 o'clock kickoff. Dre, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, I think it's 2 good teams. It's going to be a quality matchup. Southwest, you look at the Eagles. A lot of people made a big deal about Trayvon Sands and Dre Pickett-White graduating. What do they have back? They got C.J. McWilliams back, very good athlete, very similar to those guys, does a lot for them. Good running game, running back Johnny McCray there. But my money is on Pi. I think Miami High is going to show why they're a playoff contender this season. Pi already started last week, had 2 interceptions in a game, did a lot for them on offense. I think the Stingeries edged them by a little bit.
Can I see that clip of your dad spiking the ball? Every time we pick Miami High, that's what I want to see.
It's still on file, and that was one of the most popular.
Justin, I want to see the spike.
I'm taking the Stingeries. Go Stingeries.
All right, that was a spike. All right, Dillard at Hollandale, Friday, 7 o'clock. I know there's a lot of good games on the schedule. For my money, this is the one I would be at.
Yeah, if I could in Broward, if I could make it from one place to the other, I think I have an afternoon game down in Dade, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make it down to Hollandale because that explosive offense is something to watch. You saw it in the Georgia game this week. Josh Hammond, those guys, Ty Huntley in sync already with his receivers.
Yeah.
I think they had 3 touchdowns called back in that game, so it could have been even more of a pounding they could have put on Cedar Grove. It's a good challenge for them to face that Dillard defense. Their front 7 is really good, but I think Hollandale has a little bit too many weapons for Dillard in this game.
I'm a firm believer in the Chargers, so we agree with that pick there as well. All right, South Dade at Gables, Friday, 4 o'clock. Dre, the way things are sort of shaping up, you'd have to start thinking that maybe South Dade is one of the favorites to come out of the Region 4 in the state playoffs.
They're one of them, that's for sure. I mean, the region's tough. You got Columbus is still there. It's going to be South Dade. A lot of people are talking about Southridge. But, I mean, Coral Gables, I think, made a statement last week to go in there and beat a good Carroll City team. I know Carroll City put up over 400 yards on offense, but gutsy effort. They were missing a few guys on defense, and they still hung on for the victory. This is going to be an even tougher matchup, South Dade. I think it's going to depend on the health of those guys. If they can get some of those key guys like Shakur Cooper back on defense and healthy, they have a shot. But if they're still out, I think South Dade gets them by a little bit.
I'm calling for a Flanagan-South Dade state semifinal. So I'm riding South Dade. I think they're the best team down south right now. Columbus, I know they won last week, but they're kind of sputting a little bit. All right, speaking of the Explorers and Justin Aspiazu's alma mater, they will take on Northwestern Friday, 7:30 at Traz. Bulls an impressive 18-8 win over American last week.
Yeah, definitely, and they a little bit of an ugly win, though. They had some turnovers, but they're still working things out. But I think it showed that under a new coach, Max Edwards, Northwestern is on the way up to getting back to what they used to be. It's going to take some time, but already some strides made there by beating a pretty good American team that has one of the better defenses in town. This is going to be a whole different challenge, though, because like you said, even though Columbus might be sputtering a little bit, it's week one, and you saw, in moments that these guys can put it all together, and when they do, they're very dangerous. Jerron Rollins, 4 touchdowns last week, one of the best receivers in town. I think Columbus edges Northwestern.
Now, listen, Columbus has the bigger stars right now, but I think in the future, Northwestern, they're starting to build things back up under Edwards. I'm going to pick them in the upset this week. I know I picked Columbus to lose last week. I'm doing it again. And Columbus haters out there are going to have a big dartboard in my face. Hey, listen, that's fine. I keep picking them. I'll keep making Coach Merritt happy. He likes the doubters. All right, Creek at Flanagan, 7 o'clock kickoff. This is a really good game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, a lot of star power in this game because you look at Creek. I mean, not a lot of teams have 1 All-American, let alone 3 like they do. And that'll keep them in the game for a while, but if anything you told me about Flanagan is even true, I've seen them in practice. You finally saw them in a game.
Listen.
I got to go with the Dirty Bird Nation in this one.
Douglas is a pretty good team. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and they toyed with them. Scored on their first 5 drives, the Falcons did, with a backup quarterback in Stanford Samuels. The defense, they gave up 9 first downs. 6 of them were basically personal foul penalties. So this team doesn't just want to beat you. They literally want to beat you. And the way Coach Bush has them playing right now, I don't think there's anybody better in 8A than the Flanagan Falcons.
Might not be.
All right, Miramar at St. Thomas Aquinas, 7 o'clock Friday. Man, I'm really beginning to hurt for Pierre Senators. You saw what happened to them at IMG Academy. Now they're going to St. Thomas. Tough way to start the season.
Max Preps, I think, had them 6th toughest schedule in the country. And right off the bat, you see, they're going to be probably the best 0-2 team around. I mean, I would stack them against anyone after this week because – yeah, brutal to start with those 2 places. I mean, they kind of got blindsided a little bit at IMG. They gave up the opening kickoff for a touchdown, gave up 21 points right away. You can't start a game like that, especially in a year like this where they're trying to rebuild. It'll be another learning experience against St. Thomas. Don't count them out to not put up a fight a little bit, maybe, compete in this game. It's always a good rivalry between these 2, but I got to go with Aquinas. They have more right now.
Yeah, it's hard to argue there. All right, and last but not least, DeMatha at American Heritage Saturday at 6 p.m. Dre, if Heritage wins this game after beating IMG Academy, then stomping that team from Georgia, you got to put them number 1 in the top 20 poll, don't you?
Possibly, yeah. I thought you were going to go asking me about the national polls at that
point.
Well,
I mean, to me, you put them number 1 in South Florida. I think then you give them a legitimate shot to win the national title.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the pollsters at that point, they've already put, some of them have already have them in the top 20. USA Today, I believe, has them in the number 15 as of today, as of Monday. I think they have to jump into the top 10, probably even the top 5. I mean, they're going to...
I got to go see this team. I still have yet to see what Heritage has. Yeah. I thought they lost a lot to graduation. Man, I was wrong.
I mean, 3 weeks ago, no one was talking to them on this national scale. Now, all of a sudden, they're 1 victory away from possibly being in the top 5. Yeah. Where you put them next to the Bishop Gormans of the world and teams like that.
Man, Coach Mike Rumpf, what a job.
What a turnaround in 3 games.
3 games, you've built the monster there at Heritage.
Someone said it was too brutal for them.
Yeah, I thought, listen, with what they lost and Torrance Gibson and all those guys, who are you picking?
I think they can pull it off, believe it or not. I mean, no one's going to think that because DeMatha, beat up Central the way they did and went up 38 points and made them look bad. Are they capable of coming down here and doing that? Yes, but there's something about this Heritage team. I think they have a chance to edge them.
It's defense. They've given up, 1 touchdown
Brian Burns has had a great start
to
the season. That
defense is sick. I think they defend their home turf and keep climbing up the national polls. Yep. All right, that does it for week 2 for my alma mater.
We'll see you next week.